To date, it's the 23rd day of July, and what once was a beautiful Abaco. If Hurricane Dorian weren't enough to kill you, there came Dr. Livingston Marshall with his band of Mexicans that went on the state radio or radio in the country to say that Bahamians were not worthy of the workmanship that's required for Baker's Bay. No Bahamians, Abaconians, Grand Bahamas, Nassauians, none of them were capable of doing what these Mexicans can do for Baker's Bay. Well, the Universal God has a way of speaking to Kai Mills, and it spoke to Kai Mills the day when the Mexicans came in. And I did one of those, what if one of those Mexicans have the virus? What would it do for Abaco and Abaconians? Well, that what if is a reality to date. COVID-19 is indeed on Baker's Bay. All the money that they have, all the underhand dealing that they did, couldn't keep COVID-19 out of Baker's Bay. Dr. Marshall is furiously calling to have persons that were in contact with these Mexicans, the driver of the boat, the taxi that he came out with, everybody, he's paying up to get them tested. But is that enough? No, it's not enough. It is time that Michael Melman rid himself of the virus called Dr. Livingston Marshall. He's been a bad player for Bahamians and the government. Everything illegally that can be done, Dr. Marshall put a dollar sign on it and it's done. So much that all the people that were trying to silence Kai Mills, because over the past 11, 12 years, I was saying Baker's Bay is a good product, it's a good company. But people like Livingston Marshall and the rest of those expatriates that they bring to treat Abaconians and Bahamians like they are from the plantation of South Africa. So much that Baker's Bay brought management for South Africa to treat us in Abaco like slaves of old. We can't go at the bar, we can't go at the restaurant, we can't go in the marina, nor less go on the golf course. Only if we are Michael Jordan, we are allowed to go on the golf course of Baker's Bay. But all the people, the policemen, the courts, all of them that hold me at bay for Baker's Bay, now all of y'all will be exposed to the virus because Kai told you so. Thank you, Universal God, to speaking through Kai Mills to speak to his people, to let them know about all the corrupt practices that were practiced all over the years, that Baker's Bay to date have the Prime Minister in his back pocket. All of them turn a blind eye when it came to Baker's Bay. That is why Brent Simonet could go sit at the table and self-dealt a contract for him and the Prime Minister in the amount of 25 million. You see, the 25 million said that Baker's Bay, you are king in the bull run. You could go left or right, up and down, and nobody could touch you because you have put $25 million into the two richest politicians in the FNM party, Brent Simonet and the most honorable Prime Minister of the country, self-dealt themselves a $25 million contract. That is why the virus is in Abaco. That is why the Mexicans were able to come in without any testing. The head doctor finally resigned because she didn't want to get in this mess. She said, you know what? It is time for me to bow out because this prime minister is not worthy of my brains. He believed that he is the only one that his mother breathed sense into. That is why this country is on a downward spiral because of the leadership. How is it that the world is protecting its border, and at the time the competent authority is and was the Prime Minister, the most honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, allowed Dr. Marshall to sit at the table and self-dealt him hundreds of Mexicans to come into the Bahamas. So therefore, the Bahamas Air pilots, flight attendant, baggage handlers in Nassau, they are also exposed. Who to say how long this virus has been going on? It's amazing how this virus is gonna escalate in Abaco just because of the dealings of one Dr. Livingston Marshall. He's now calling for everybody that has been in contact with these Mexicans, the boat driver, the taxi driver, and all their families to come and get tested. But what if they go in Dr. Charity's office and he don't have on the right suit? That means Dr. Charity and all his staff is exposed. Remember when the lady came into the Fowler Street clinic, the doctors and the nurses run out of their own office because they weren't suited up and prepared to deal with nobody with COVID-19. You imagine in Abaco, the big clinic, nobody in the clinic, the government offices in Abaco, the doctors are prepared or can deal with the testing of COVID-19. So if somebody go into the clinic in Marshaba with a positive test of COVID-19, breathing the air, blowing of the nose, coughing of the mouth, the whole clinic is exposed because nobody in there is prepared for COVID-19. When is the government? Dr. Marshall is calling around, getting his people to expose COVID-19 to the only clinic, private clinic here with Dr. Charity. But when is the government gonna do contact tracing for this Mexican? You see, God is the equalizer, and He's just vindicated Kai Mills on everything that I said come to truth. I said 3 weeks ago, what if one of those Mexicans got it? What if one of those workers from Baker's Bay that were exposed, and everybody in Abaco know that the wind is blowing 30, 40 knots, so that virus blow all over Baker's Bay, and workers, not only the Mexicans, the Bahamians, go into Maxwell's, not knowing that they carry COVID-19 on their clothes and in their body, and they hit Maxwell's. Look at the explosion of COVID-19. The police that always tried to shut me up because I was trying to educate about the bad dealings and the crooked dealings of Dr. Livingston Marshall in Bakers Bay. The courts that holding me hostage because of Dr. Livingston Marshall. He would come in court with his lawyers, truck full of lawyers, to try to shut Kai Mills up. And the only voice that crying out for these people is Kai Mills. Who is trying to shut Kai Mills up now? What's there in Enfield? Our member of parliament for Abaco with the little tight pants. When Darren now coming to Abaco, he could be exposed and carry the virus into the cabinet of the Bahamas. I hope he carried the doctor, the Prime Minister. I warned Darren would like to drive him, carry the virus direct from Bakers Bay into the cabinet and into the laps, the mouth, the eyes, the ears of the worst Prime Minister in the history of this country. Darren, please come back to Abaco and carry it right into Dr. Prime Minister. Can't even think his name now, he's so weightless. Into his office. That will be a good look for Abaco. If the most honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis would have get the virus for allowing the virus to come to Bakers Bay and to expose my people and myself to this vexing situation. And how are we going to protect ourselves when the fools in the water and sewage has had the water cut off in Abaco for 3 days? We haven't had electricity for 10 months. The poles are just being erected. No water, no electricity, no clinic, no testing equipment. And the virus has come ashore through the dealing of Dr. Livingston Marshall. Everybody is now can be exposed because of one individual, Dr. Livingston Marshall, and the competent authority, which is the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, that allow these people to come in here without being tested. When is the Prime Minister of the country gonna put his resignation in and say to the Bahamian people, I have failed thee, and I am humbly resigning as Prime Minister of this country? I'm waiting on his resignation. You're live with Kai in Abaco, where we have no protection against what the Prime Minister and Dr. Livingston Marshall have allowed through their dealings, underhand dealing with Bakers Bay. The virus is now in Abaco. Everybody can be exposed. You're live with Kai on WCAY, waiting on the resignation of the Prime Minister of the Bahamas. You're live with Kai.